Alright, class, welcome to week 4. Here we are. I don't know if I have a summer cold or massive allergies, or maybe it's both. I don't know, but I'm always like this. Anyhow, so far you guys are doing great. Those of you who are keeping up with the work, you're mainly just nailing it. So good job, class. Keep going. We're really plowing through. I've only received a few of the exam papers thus far, and what I've seen, you guys are doing it. I hope what you're finding is that you're accidentally learning a lot of things. That's what I hope. That's my hope. So, the grades, I know that you need your grades to be high, that you're looking for good grades, and I appreciate that. That's what you're trying to do. But I'm really wanting you guys to learn about the world and have something stick with you. It is a shame that we have to cover so much in such a short amount of time. This week is a perfect example of just way too much being covered that is so significant, and it's very random. So we're going to doing Latin America, and we have Asia and Africa. It's just too much. But I'm hoping that you'll get to walk away with a few things again on these topics. So I tried to make all the assignments reflect a way of having you exposed, to make sure that you're properly exposed to all the topics. So our discussion will be dealing with Latin America and what you read from the textbook, and then you will have the video notes. So at least you're going to be watching a lot of this, so at least you'll be exposed to a lot of the things there. And then the films on the Congo, the Mahdi, and having a discussion about those papers. The one on the Mahdi, I have clip 1. There's 6 clips to it. There used to be a YouTube that had the entire thing on it, and it got deleted. So I just posted clip 1. You need to watch all 6. And you can do that. When you watch YouTube, once you play the 1, it'll start helping you. It'll show you the other ones to go to. So you need to watch all 6. I just posted the 1, but you need to watch all 6 for the one on the Mahdi of Sudan. Real brief. And then I just want to say the one on the Congo. You will learn about King Leopold II, and I wish this one was a better recording of this. There used to be, but that got deleted as well. Leopold II, everybody should know about this terrible human being. I'm going to just say this out loud. We talk about people like Hitler and Stalin, and I mentioned this in one of my lectures, but how can you not know about King Leopold II of Belgium and what his legacy is in the Congo? It's mind-bogglingly awful and very important for us to understand and know about. So I hope you take some time to really focus on learning more about that. And I just want to briefly mention that I don't really get a chance to talk about that much, that I just want to expose you to. I have a little link for something on China that says Christian and Revolutionary on the Taiping Rebellion. You should just, whenever you get a chance, do some research on the Taiping Rebellion. This happened in the 19th century, almost literally around the same time of the U.S. Civil War. Okay, to put it in that context. The centralized government of China faced a major revolutionary backlash. The Taiping Rebellion cost, they estimate, around 20 million lives. That is not an inconsequential set of events. And the Taiping Rebellion almost won. So this is before communism, right? Okay, this was a revolution that was taking place where the central government actually won against this rebellion. Here's what's interesting about the Taiping Rebellion. The Taiping Rebellion was led by a guy named Huang Shuang. I'm saying his name probably a little bit wrong. He was like a cult leader. He thought that he was Jesus' brother. He fused Chinese religion with Christianity by reading some missionary tracts. And he ends up creating this movement. The Taiping Rebellion was a Christian cult in China that fused in this wild set of ideas that was very much outside of Christianity into Chinese ideas, and the Bible taking place within government policy, but again mixed with these other things. What if this rebellion would have won? Can you imagine how different China would have looked in it, and if the communists would have never come to power? Right now we would be dealing with a Chinese culture and government that was a kind of Christian Chinese mystical cult. Just it's wild, right? So everybody should know about this. It's not really in China. They don't talk about it a lot because they don't like to highlight any kind of rebellions. That when they're the Communist Party of China has really been trying to keep everybody a little calm. Don't think about those. Even though that's how the Communist Party came to power, was by a rebellion against the central state. But that's a whole other topic. Okay, so that and then what's interesting. So this is why I also wanted to bring this up. In that documentary on the Mahdi, they talk about Charles Chinese Gordon, a guy who's sent to go fight the Mahdi in Sudan, and he's called that because he fought in the Taiping Rebellion, and they just briefly talk about that. So you have this British Christian missionary military man that helped squash the Taiping Rebellion in China. So the British helped the central government of China to stop this Chinese rebellion, the Taiping Rebellion in China, and ended up going to Sudan and the idea of helping suppress the Mahdi uprising in the way he did in China, and you'll see that his results there were quite different than what he could pull off in China. So that's the link that I want to kind of draw on. Which is also interesting, by the way, is that the U.S. was having a civil war at the time, and the Lincoln government, my understanding is, was convinced to support the central government of China because the Chinese government was trying to say, look, the Taiping Rebellion is like your Confederate South. They're trying to break away and create a civil war, and we have common problems right now, that kind of thing. So it's sometimes interesting to see how world history, like different events that don't seem like they go together, actually were intertwined at the time. And we don't always get to connect all the dots, right? So we have the Taiping Rebellion in China, the U.S. Civil War, and then we have this British trying to control Africa, and this Islamic rebellion in one of the largest African countries, the Sudan, maybe the largest, and then here that we have this fight against an Islamic resistance fighter against the West, and then here we are in modern times and the dramas that take place in current geopolitical realms. You feel me? So that's all I have to say about this stuff for now. Always make sure you call me if you need anything, and oh yes, and I hope you have a very happy, safe, fun, enriching 4th of July. Independence. We just kind of covered that discussion, right, in revolutions last week. It'd have been nice if we could have covered it this week. It'd have been more appropriate, but there's a lot of nations that have not had that ability to be independent. Some argue that the United States has helped free people, and other ones, you can make a case that we've actually kept other nations from being free. That's a controversial topic, but there's proof of that, and we'll cover at the end of this class. We have a mixed legacy, but ultimately what we do know is that the majority of humanity wants to be free and independent, and it's a good thing. And what's interesting is that Canada just had Canada Day. They didn't have a violent revolution against the British, and they didn't have a civil war, and they don't have slavery, and they're an independent nation. So did we need to have a violent revolution and a civil war to get independence and to be having the slaves? Oh, Canada, you create a whole set of debates and topics that we haven't ever explored having in our discussions. But in any case, I'm glad that we're free and independent, and I'm glad that I'm in a time that I didn't have to live in the middle of violent tumultuousness to get to that result. So, peace and have a great holiday.